So you've heard me talk about problems. We've gone through a bunch of different things. How about some solutions? Having gone to court cases, trials, hearings, I've done everything I can to accumulate as much information as possible to be able to help you. Now comes some solutions. Don't buy in an HOA. Do yourself a life favor. Don't buy a home in an HOA. If you live in an HOA, get out. Move to some place where you're not being controlled by somebody else. Note, be sure to supply the information to the potential buyer that it is an HOA and here are some potential risks. Why? Because I believe, having looked at the court cases, that soon homeowners selling homes and real estate agents are going to be sued for what has happened to you or what is going to happen to them or may happen to them in an HOA. When paying your dues, always pay with a certified mail. Be sure that you send your payment in by certified mail. If you pay by charge card, be sure that you check and make sure that the charge was run. Why? Because now part of the scam is they're selecting certain homes and they're losing those payments. And now you're in default. And though you may claim and swear up and down that you paid, they're going to say, we didn't get it. And therefore, you're in trouble. If you are fined, pay it. And pay it immediately. And afterwards, take it directly into a hearing and mediation. This allows you now to go for monetary return. Is it a hassle? You bet. But it's a lot better than accumulating that fine, and it sends a message to your HOA. These people aren't going to take it. Document, document, document. You got a problem? Document it. Send it in by certified letter. Keep those receipts. Is that going to stop them from doing what they're doing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Their position is nothing scares us, but when it makes its way in front of a mediator, now it's a little bit more difficult. And if you are a diligent person and you've documented what you've done, it's going to work in your favor. Document, document, document. Stay in touch with your neighbors. Ask them if they're being fined. Ask them if they're running into any problems. Ask them if you can help. If you can find other people in the neighborhood to join hands with, you're not going this alone. Help your neighbors. You see that they've got a weed? Pull it. The trash can's on the street? Bring it up to the garage door. Lend a hand. This is supposed to be a neighborhood. The people that are going through these neighborhoods are trolling for fines. Stop the process. Lower the cash flow that goes into their hands. Help your neighbors. If you are someone who's experiencing stress, and you may have already read my article on HOA syndrome, see your doctor. Go on record as having problems as a result of your homeowners association. See a chiropractor. See a therapist. Get a file in play. So you've got backup to a claim that you may make. Which brings me to the next solution. Find an attorney now who specializes in HOA law for homeowners. Don't wait till the problem arises. Take preventive care. Prepare now. Look for the attorney in your area who practices this law. Note, eventually this site is going to supply you with attorneys in your area all over the country. We're compiling these records now, and we'll do our best to update the system as quickly as possible. This will be very foreign to you. If you are 62 or older, put a reverse mortgage on your property. Now, I know that this creates a conflict for a lot of you. You worked hard. You're 62, you're in your retirement years, you own your home. Congratulations. But you're at risk for losing it because now that you own your home, you're a real target to the HOA. What you want to do is encumber that home.
What is a reverse mortgage? A reverse mortgage is really just a mortgage, like any other mortgage you would get. The bank loans you money, charges interest, and wants to get paid back. The major difference between a traditional mortgage and a reverse mortgage is that the reverse does not require any monthly mortgage payments. In fact, as long as you live in the home, keep it insured and maintained, and remain current on your property taxes and homeowners association if you have it, you never have to make a mortgage payment.
If you'll just look at my stick figure house there, and as we look at this, I'm going to basically divide this into two sections. So when you do the reverse mortgage, we're basically going to divide your house into a section that is the principal, or the money that you're going to have access to. That'll be this lower portion here. And the second portion will be the interest that's reserved for the lender. They don't get it all right away, but it is kind of reserved for the lender. And so in my example here, I'm going to use a home value of $200,000, and I'm going to use a 72-year-old male. And in that case, using again just the interest assumptions I'm using, this is just an example, so don't hold me to these numbers. This is just to give you the idea how this works. Interest rates change all the time, and the government changes the program, so you need to get a current quote to find out exactly what's available for you. But in this example, I'm showing $143,000 below the line, so all of that is reserved for you. Now, there's a couple of things that need to come out of this section that's reserved for you, and that's the costs of the reverse mortgage. There's several costs involved: appraisals and loan origination fees and FHA insurance fees that comes out. There's quite a few things involved in that. And the other thing is any current debt that you might have. Maybe you have a current mortgage on your property. That would also come out of your portion. All right. Then we would have money that's available for you. And you could take either all of this money that's available, that's whatever's left after the costs and the current debts, or you could take a monthly income, or you could open a line of credit and just take money as you need it or want it. So very straightforward there. And then above the line is reserved for the interest to the lender. And I'm not sure what that's going to be either, because this is a negative amortization loan. The longer you have it, the more the costs are going to be. And so you could see that interest increase over the years. And so the key thing, and I think the biggest misconception that I see from many people, many borrowers and people that don't really understand the reverse mortgage, is they think that somehow you're giving your house to the lender. And that is absolutely not true. This is a very basic approach. So when you think about this, if you were going to pay off this loan, let's say you're going to sell your house, then it would be pretty straightforward. How much interest has the lender earned? How long did you have the debt in place? What were the original costs and the debt, and how much money did you take? So you add all those things up. That's how much would have to be paid off at the time you sell your house. And with a reverse mortgage, it's not due and payable until you move, sell, or die. And that's everybody on title. And of course, everybody on title has to be over 62 in order to get the reverse mortgage.
A reverse mortgage is mortgage put on your property where they lend you 1/2 the value of the home and they give you that money. And you may now keep that money. A lot of people are afraid of reverse mortgages because over time the interest builds. Fine. Pay the interest off each year so that the interest does not accumulate. But now you've got the property encumbered and it's a federal loan, and the federal loan cannot be usurped by a super priority lien. You're under the age of 62. Get your property into the hands of a relative or someone whom you trust who's over the age of 62. Now they can encumber the property and you're living in the property. And you say, hey, wait a minute, Doc. wait a minute, I want to own my own property. I need to warn you, the problem here is you need to be sure that you will continue to own that property. These are people who are stealing other people's property. Create barriers between yourself and those people so they can't take the property.
Reverse mortgage might sound like a great way to generate income in retirement, but they're tricky. Here to tell us more about them is real estate attorney Ben Weinstock. What is a reverse mortgage?
The best way to understand them is to compare them to the regular mortgage that you and I are familiar with. We typically think of a regular mortgage as the borrower going to the bank, signing some papers and getting some cash back, and every month you repay the bank a little bit. With a reverse mortgage, most of them work by going to the bank, signing the papers, and having the bank give you money each month, so that it's like having a line of credit at the bank, so to speak. But they're limited. They're not available to everybody. They're only available to people who are 62 and older. They're only available for the primary residence. So if you have a summer home or a vacation home that you want to try to mortgage this way, you can't do it that way. And they're more costly typically than conventional borrowing.
There also are some real pitfalls to them too.
Nothing is ever all bad or all good, and same with reverse mortgages. There are some pros and cons and some very, very significant pitfalls. What's good about them is that you don't need income or good credit score to be eligible. The loan is underwritten or originated based on the value of the property, the life expectancy of the homeowner, and the amount of the underlying first mortgage that exists on the property. So for people without good credit, for people without any significant source of income to repay the loan, it is a better product, or perhaps the only product. The dangers are that they're more costly because they have a compounding of interest factor. They can even result in the disinheritance of the children. By that I mean the following. Every month the interest will accrue on that loan until eventually the amount of the debt could exceed the value of the home. Nothing left for the heirs and the family to inherit after one passes away.
So what are some alternatives if people, see their home as their greatest asset, they need the income in retirement? What are some other options?
Generally speaking, we recommend to clients that they consider downsizing either into a rental property or into a smaller home. They sell the 6-bedroom house they've had for 35 years and move into a small condo, if that suits their lifestyle. The alternative to that is to refinance the existing mortgage on the property, pull some cash out that way, as long as you have sufficient income to be able to afford to make the monthly mortgage payments.
I see. So you have to make sure you qualify for that kind of a mortgage
Correct.
setup.
Not everybody's eligible and can qualify. You need to have good credit and a source of income.
I've mentioned in the section on solutions about what you might do to take care of yourself. Well, this section is really for the attorney. Now, I have no doubt that as this work begins to make its way around, attorneys for homeowners associations are going to want to know what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to work to make myself as available as I can to work with attorneys who are working on cases for homeowners. I'm also going to do what I can to train other people across the country to try and deal with these cases. So this section of the book is an attempt to try and help you, the attorney, recognize these cases. In my opinion, what you're dealing with here are issues of abuse. You are dealing with issues of misrepresentation. I think that in the work that I've done, I've recognized these problems as being torts rather than the way that they're handled now. That is to say, there are people being harmed. Much like an automobile accident, these people are being rear-ended in their homeowners association. Can we go after the association, or can we go after the seller for having sold property where there's a problem? The realtor's involvement. What did they know? What did they sell to the homeowner? What really has taken place? Elder abuse. This, I believe, is a major key, a major avenue into breaking up what I think of as the cartels in homeowners associations. That is to say, when we're dealing with individuals who are elders, we have now a whole series of laws, rules, regulations, state and federal, that allow us to go after what the homeowners associations are doing. As a psychotherapist, as a psychologist, as a professor, I strongly believe that this represents abuse without a question of a doubt. Child abuse. What's happening to these children who are living in these properties? The parents are being harassed, properties being foreclosed on, families are being displaced. Do we have child abuse? Fraud. Is there misrepresentation? Have the people been led down a false path?
Okay. Seniors have available to them going to the Senior Legal Aid Center. The problem is, you can talk about it, but the Senior Aid Legal Center is not going to do anything about it. You're not allowed in the district court because you live in a homeowners association. You are denied. You're not allowed in the federal courts. You are denied because you live in a homeowners association. Now, you possibly could go to the Legal Aid Center, and they are there to answer your questions. You can go into the Legal Aid Center and let them know.
Help with my homeowners association for small claims.
But there's not going to be much help there. The worst of all, the state bar. The state bar is there for you to file complaints, but they're not interested in hearing what's happened to you from your homeowners association. No help here. You're supposed to be able to get help from your ombudsman's office. The ombudsman's office is there to be able to mediate and help you through various problems and issues. The problem is this, as I give you the example in the state of Nevada, Clark County. There are some 2+ million homes in Clark County. There is one ombudsman's office, and they can't possibly assist you in what you're doing. One lonely room, one door, and that's it. No help here. The truth is, there's no help out there for you, and there's no help out there for you because no system is allowed to assist homeowners that live in homeowners associations. You're stuck. You are living in the dark. Read through another set of articles related to the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Learn about these documents. See how overwhelming they can be. Take a look at what it's like to try and fight your HOA. Notice how hard they will fight so that you can't get into a court, and how much money they're spending stopping you from going forward. Take a look at a document that's recently filed in a court case. This court case is involving an HOA and being misdirected with respect to what's in an HOA and not in an HOA. But this I invite you to look at. You by now may have seen a theme, and that's the reoccurrence of the same attorney, all the same law firms, over and over and over again, fighting the homeowners. What happens is this. You have moved into a homeowners association. You think everything is fine. In fact, you've knocked on a few doors, and the people there have told you this is a nice neighborhood. But what you don't know is that these law firms are trolling all the neighborhoods in the city to try and get their business. And once they get rid of the existing law firms, management companies, and collection companies, and bring in their own crew, then they're going to stop the process of it being a fair process. They're going to start attacking you because now you live in a homeowners association where they want your money. The purpose of me saying this, simply because your homeowners association is good now, that doesn't mean it's going to be good tomorrow. The law firms are the ones that are making the money, but it's always the HOA board that ultimately is responsible for picking these law firms.
Please take a moment to read this legal statement. The next time section will begin automatically in 20 seconds, or you may begin at any time by clicking on the clock.